Have you ever paused to consider that what you are feeling right now, the fear, the fatigue, the invisible barriers, may not actually be about what is happening in the world around you? That these experiences are often the direct product of the same thoughts you have been running on repeat day after day? This video is not just another motivational moment. It is an invitation to begin genuinely changing your consciousness, deeply and for real. Positive thinking is not empty sentiment. It is a real, scientifically confirmed tool that is capable of changing your life. But very few people use it with genuine intention. It is time to step out of the mental traps that have been holding you in place and learn to direct the power of your own mind in your favor. We are not here to simply dream about a better life. We are here to train the mind so that it gives us freedom. If you are ready to stop being a prisoner of heavy, repetitive thoughts, if you want to learn to direct your energy toward what builds you rather than what diminishes you, stay with me. You are close to uncovering something that can genuinely change everything. Before we begin, write this phrase somewhere you will see it, or in the comments right now. Today, I choose to think in a new way. I am strong. Make this a promise to yourself. When you put a decision into words, your consciousness begins to treat it as real. Every time you repeat it, you remind yourself, you have the power to choose how you think, even when life becomes difficult. Let that be your first Stoic practice today. Truth. 1. Positive thinking physically changes how your brain works. Your brain is not fixed. It is not rigid or closed. It changes alongside your thoughts, like a canvas where every thought leaves a new impression. And what matters most is this. Every time you consciously choose to focus on what is possible, on what you are capable of changing, you are literally rewriting your brain. This is not a beautiful metaphor. It is science, and it has a name: neuroplasticity. Your brain is capable of creating new neural connections through repetition, attention, and intention. When you wake up, and instead of reaching for familiar complaints, you say to yourself, "Today is a new opportunity." You activate the regions of the brain responsible for motivation, creative thinking, and inner resilience. What you think influences not just your mood. It changes how your brain actually functions. People who practice gratitude, constructive affirmations, and visualization do not just feel better. Their brains shift to a different level of operation. The neural networks responsible for optimism, emotional stability, and clear decision-making are strengthened, like muscles being trained. This does not mean denying reality. It means learning to see what is useful, even inside difficult circumstances. Because what you think each day becomes what you feel. What you feel determines your actions. And your actions, repeated day after day, form your life. Everything begins in your consciousness. A simple daily practice. Every morning, write down 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. It can be something as simple as a roof over your head, a warm cup of tea, or the fact that you are breathing. Do this for 21 days and watch how your mind automatically begins searching for what you already have, for what is within your power. Repeat phrases that give you strength. Say them aloud if you can. I am capable. I am becoming stronger every day. My mind is on my side. Over time, your brain begins to believe this and act accordingly. When negative thoughts arrive, and they will, do not fight them. Notice them. Ask, Does this thought help me, or is it keeping me stuck? If it does not serve you, do not feed it. You can always choose a different thought, one that gives you energy and helps you move forward. Stoicism teaches we cannot always control external circumstances, but we can always govern how we evaluate them. That is the difference between living in suffering and living in growth. Truth. 2. Your mind operates in two modes, and you can choose which one runs your life. Your mind works on two levels at once. The first operates even when you are not paying attention. It is fast, impulsive, automatic, running like a background program. It keeps you safe by scanning for threats. But it is also responsible for the negative thought loops, the self-criticism, the anxious reactions to minor things. This is your autopilot mode. The second mode is slower, more deliberate, more conscious. This is the mode that allows you to make actual choices. It asks questions. Is this thought worth my attention? Is this reaction actually serving me? It can pause before responding. It can evaluate rather than just react. And this is the mode that needs to be trained, intentionally, daily. Here is today's practice. Begin to observe. Watch what you think and feel, without judgment, but with honesty. Do not let every thought that arises govern your state. Your mind produces thoughts just as naturally as your heart beats and your lungs breathe. But not every thought is the truth. Not every thought is yours. And not every thought deserves your full attention, though every thought deserves to be noticed before you accept it. So when you catch yourself thinking, I can't, I always fail, I'm not good enough, pause. Do not accept it as given. Activate the conscious mode. Ask, where did this thought come from? Does it help me, or is it fear speaking for me? If a thought is limiting you, replace it, not with empty affirmation, but with something that genuinely supports you and helps you move forward. You can retrain your mind. You can direct your thoughts so they help you build rather than tear down. Stoicism understood this thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, if something external disturbs you, know that it is not the thing itself. It is your judgment of it, and that judgment you can change right now. This is the essence of conscious thinking. The ability to interrupt your automatic reactions and choose how you want to think and act instead. Every time you do this, you are not just calming yourself. You are creating new neural pathways that prepare your mind for resilience, clarity, and genuine inner balance. You stop being a victim of your own thoughts and become the one who shapes them. Truth 3. What you focus on reshapes your mood, your brain, and your life. Your mind cannot reliably distinguish between what you actually see and what you imagine with depth and clarity. The images you hold inside become what shapes your state, your reactions, your experience of reality. When you consistently train your mind to focus on constructive images, on the version of yourself that is steady, capable, and clear, you create new neural paths that strengthen resilience, attention, and the ability to recover after difficulty. Here is what the research confirms. Even if you stop practicing visualization, its positive effects persist for months. This means that what you consciously imagine today has the power to change your tomorrow. Imagine spending even 10 minutes each day seeing yourself as calm, focused, and prepared to face challenges without being broken by them. Imagine your mind knowing where to return, to steadiness, to hope, to purpose, even in the hardest moments. That is what genuine transformation feels like. Start simply. Close your eyes and picture yourself handling a situation that currently concerns you with calm and clarity. Feel your body relax. Notice your breathing deepen. Notice your thoughts becoming clearer. Do this daily. At first it may seem trivial, but over time your mind will begin returning to this state on its own, especially when a wave of chaos arrives. The image becomes your internal anchor, your harbor inside the storm. Truth 4. What you feed your mind determines the quality of your life. Your mind is a garden. Everything you allow into it, words, images, conversations, ideas, takes root. Some grow into calm, strength, and clarity. Others grow into doubt, noise, and fear. If you spend your days absorbing negative news, conversations full of complaint and content that breeds anxiety, do not expect inner peace to grow there. Just as what you eat affects your physical health, what you feed your mind shapes your emotional and psychological state. Every time you scroll through a fear-driven news feed, absorb conversations built on grievance, or lose yourself in comparison of your life to others, you are allowing those energies to settle into your thinking. You may not notice it immediately, but you feel it in the irritation, the low-grade discouragement, the quiet sense that the world is against you. But here is the important thing. You have a choice. You can protect your mind. You can decide what to let in and what to keep out. Start by noticing how you feel after consuming certain content or spending time with certain people. If you consistently feel anxious, hollow, or farther from yourself, that is a signal. This does not mean isolating yourself from the world. It means building a filter, recognizing that not everything deserves your attention and not everything deserves your energy. At the same time, actively seek what genuinely lifts you. Music that gives you strength, ideas that inspire growth, people who talk about solutions, not just problems. Seek stories that remind you life contains goodness, love, and possibility. What you feed your mind today determines how you will think tomorrow. And how you think tomorrow determines how you will live the day after. It all begins with the simple decision of what you let in. Truth 5. 1 hour a day dedicated to yourself can change your life. This is not a luxury. It is not selfishness. It is the most honest act of respect for your own life and your own potential. Most people live on autopilot. They wake up, fulfill their obligations, run from one thing to another all day, fall asleep exhausted, and hope that tomorrow something will shift on its own. But nothing shifts unless you do. 1 intentional hour sounds small, but if you use it with genuine purpose, it becomes your strength. Reading that opens new ideas. Writing that helps you understand yourself better. Moving your body and feeling your energy return. Working on a project you have been postponing. Reviewing your goals. Building the habits that matter. All of this can happen in 1 hour, and every such day compounds. You do not need to wait for this time to appear. You need to create it. There will always be something competing for your attention. There will always be fatigue. There will always be the temptation to postpone. But the decision is yours. Will your excuses continue to be stronger than your future? Is the distraction really more important than your inner strength, your health, your growth? The Stoics believed self-governance was the foundation of all virtue. Seneca advised withdrawing daily, at least briefly, from the external world, to find clarity, purpose, and inner strength. You do not need to change your entire life at once. Start by giving yourself this one intentional hour, with discipline, with care, with the understanding that you deserve it. And you will notice, after a week, a month, a year, that you have become different. You respond differently to things that used to destabilize you. You no longer need constant external validation because you have become your own foundation. That is genuine freedom. Truth 6. You cannot control everything, but you can always choose how you respond. Life will never be fully under your control. Circumstances shift, people come and go, plans collapse. And that is not a malfunction. It is the nature of existence. Real strength is not the ability to manage every variable. Real strength is the ability to govern yourself when the variables refuse to cooperate. You do not need to like what is happening. You do not need to pretend everything is fine when it clearly is not. But you can always choose how to respond. You can choose to pause and breathe, to think before speaking, to search for a solution instead of lodging in the complaint, to stay flexible when plans break, to learn from every situation, even when it hurts. This choice is your freedom, and it is the one thing that remains with you regardless of what is taken away. The Stoics called this the inner citadel, the impenetrable space inside you where external circumstances cannot reach, as long as you continue to govern your own response. Seneca wrote that we do not suffer because of the things themselves, but because of how we interpret them. When we learn to look at situations through the lens of learning rather than defeat, we grow. Every time you choose not to surrender to an impulsive reaction, you become stronger. Every time you respond from wisdom rather than from wound or fear, your mind grows more capable. It does not always feel natural at first, but with consistent practice, it becomes your default. And you begin to notice how much less energy you waste on what cannot be changed. Truth 7. Actions create change. Knowledge alone does not. In a world of abundant information, it is easy to confuse consuming with doing. We read books, listen to podcasts, watch inspiring videos, and feel a burst of motivation. But knowledge without action does not change a life. You can know how to become calmer and still explode with anger. You can know how to eat well and still reach for comfort food. You can know how to create financial stability and still avoid responsibility for your finances. Real change begins where knowledge becomes action. Not giant leaps, small ones. One new choice today. One step toward what you know is right. Because it is the actions that shape identity. Every time you act against your old patterns, you do not just change the outcome, you change yourself. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught, "It is not enough to talk about virtue. You must practice it, because only in action do you reveal who you actually are." Stop waiting for motivation to arrive. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Become the person who acts even when they do not feel like it. That is what genuine discipline builds. Strength that does not depend on your mood or the circumstances. Perhaps today you do not feel like going for a walk, but when you do, energy returns. Perhaps you do not want to sit with your creative work, but 30 minutes in, you feel real progress. Perhaps it does not feel like the right time to express gratitude, but when you do, something warms. Action heals. Action frees. Action transforms. The small things done consistently create the large changes that matter. Truth. 8. Discomfort is often the doorway to your greatest growth. We have been conditioned to flee from discomfort, from the difficult conversation, from the physical exertion, from the unknown, from what scares us. But precisely in those moments, when we are genuinely uncomfortable, when we step past the familiar, we actually grow. Think about learning to walk. You fell. You cried. It was frightening. But you got up again. And through those falls, you found your balance. Growth works the same way now. It does not happen inside complete comfort. Comfort is warm, but there is no development there. You become stronger when you run, even when your body says stay in bed. You become more confident when you speak your perspective, even when your voice trembles. You become freer when you learn to say no, where you once agreed out of fear. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is a signal that you are moving towards something new, a sign that you are expanding what is possible. The Stoics accepted discomfort as an inevitable part of life. Seneca said that hardship forms the soul and forges character. When you encounter something difficult, ask yourself, am I avoiding this because it is genuinely dangerous, or simply because it is unfamiliar? Can I take one small step toward it? Because very often, the greatest growth happens precisely when you move toward what you do not want to face. And what is interesting is this. Once you pass through the discomfort, it loses its power. You discover you can handle it, and that discovery becomes inner strength you carry permanently. Truth. 9. Gratitude shifts your focus and your energy. In life, there will always be something you do not yet have. Goals not yet reached. Things you want. Challenges ahead. But alongside all of that, there is already so much that holds genuine value. We simply tend to stop noticing. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems. It is the cultivated ability to see what is worth appreciating, even inside an ordinary day. When you wake up in the morning, you already have something that can be received as a gift. Your breath, your body. Another chance at a day. Warmth, food, the people in your life. The ability to learn, to move, to dream. We take these things for granted until we lose them. Gratitude brings focus back to what already exists rather than what is missing. And when you begin this practice consistently, your mood settles. Your mind becomes clearer. An inner warmth emerges that does not depend on external circumstances. Research confirms this. People who practice daily gratitude carry lower levels of stress, sleep better, and generally experience more genuine satisfaction. Because gratitude rewires the brain toward noticing what is positive, even in the small things. The Stoics practiced gratitude as a discipline, not a sentiment. They trained themselves to recognize that nothing they had was guaranteed, and that this recognition made every gift, every moment, every person in their lives worthy of acknowledgement. Try this simple practice. Every morning or before bed, Write down 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. Let them be specific. Let yourself actually feel the gratitude, not just list it. Over time, your mind will begin searching for these moments throughout the day on its own. And even on the hardest days, you will be able to find at least one thread of light that holds you. Truth. 10. You become what you repeat each day. Most people wait for inspiration before they act, or for ideal conditions before they begin to change. But the reality is both simple and profound. You do not become who you dream of being. You become who you consistently choose to be. If every day you choose complaint, your mind learns to search for more to complain about. If every day you postpone what matters, your mind learns to avoid the difficult. If every day you allow fear to govern your choices, fear becomes stronger. But if every day you choose small actions that move you toward growth, you become stronger. If every day you choose gratitude, you begin to see more goodness. If every day you choose movement, your body becomes more resilient. If every day you choose to speak kindly to yourself rather than critically, you become your own ally. Real transformation comes through repetition. Not one heroic act, but small, consistent steps, taken even when no one is watching. This applies to everything: your thinking, your body, your finances, your relationships. Everything is shaped by the habits you build or allow. The Stoics taught that a person's character is formed through their actions, not their words. Seneca wrote that it is not enough to hear a wise piece of advice once. You have to embody it every day. So ask yourself honestly, what am I doing every day that is forming who I am? Are these actions moving me toward the person I want to become, or holding me in place? Start with something simple. Choose one habit you want to build. Practice it daily. Not for anyone else, not for social media, but for yourself. Let it be movement, or reflection, or reading, or gratitude, or releasing the content that does not serve you. It does not matter where you start. What matters is that you start and maintain the rhythm. Every time you choose discipline over chaos, you strengthen yourself. Every time you take a small step rather than nothing, you build your path. Over time, these steps accumulate into real transformation. You become calmer, more grounded, clearer. All of it because of the daily choices no one else could see. Never underestimate the power of repetition. You become what you repeat. Truth. 11. Your choices compound. Your future is being written right now. Every day you make thousands of small choices about where your time and energy go. And the sum of those choices, compounded across months and years, is what your life becomes. This is not a burden. It is the most empowering fact available to you, because it means that starting right now, with the very next decision you make, you can begin writing a different story. Not a perfect story, a more intentional one. The Stoics did not seek perfection. They sought virtue, the daily practice of acting in alignment with who you genuinely want to be. When you choose to honor the 1 hour you committed to yourself, you build the version of yourself you respect. When you choose to respond with composure instead of reaction, you become more of the person you are working to become. When you choose to return to your path after stumbling, rather than surrendering to it, you are doing the most stoic thing possible, continuing anyway. You do not need to change everything at once. You need only one thing: the honest decision to act in alignment with your values. Today, with what you have, from where you currently are. Truth. 12. Small daily actions change your identity, not just your results. There is a difference between someone who occasionally does the right thing and someone who has genuinely become a different kind of person. That difference is built in the moments no one watches. Every small, consistent action sends a message to your own mind. I am someone who does this. Not someone who intends to, not someone who plans to someday, someone who does. And over time, the gap between who you were and who you are becoming grows wide enough to see. This is identity-level change, and it is only available through repetition, not through inspiration or information alone. Stoicism never promised easy transformation. It promised that the person who commits to daily practice will discover, gradually and undeniably, that they have become someone the old version of themselves would not have recognized. That is the destination worth walking toward. Truth. 13. You are not obligated to remain the person you were yesterday. One of the most liberating ideas in all of Stoicism is simply this: you are not fixed. Every morning that you open your eyes, you are offered a new page, and you decide what gets written on it. You are not required to be the person who accepted disrespect simply because you once allowed it. You are not required to be the person who doubted themselves simply because someone once told you that you were not enough. You are not required to carry any story from the past that is not serving the person you are choosing to become. Every single day is a new opportunity. Not a new year, not a new Monday, today. The moment you decide, the moment you act. Begin with one choice that aligns with who you want to be. Let it be small, let it be honest, and let it be now, because now is the only place where change actually happens. Truth. 14. Your body is an instrument of your strength. Treat it accordingly. Many people look for inner stability, clarity, and motivation, while simultaneously neglecting the very foundation on which those things depend: the body. It is difficult to think clearly when you are chronically exhausted. It is hard to feel inspired when your physical energy is depleted. It is nearly impossible to pursue your goals when your body cannot support you. The Stoics understood this. They considered care of the body part of the virtue of moderation. A strong mind requires a functioning, cared-for body as its home. Sleep you actually allow yourself, not stolen from your evenings by screens. Movement you choose daily, even if it is just a walk or a few minutes of intentional stretching. Water, food chosen with awareness. Rest that genuinely restores. These are not luxuries. They are the infrastructure of your inner life. Your body works for you every single day. It forgives sleepless nights and excessive stress, but it sends signals when it needs your attention. Those signals are not punishment. They are requests. Care for your body as you would care for a sacred instrument, because it is one, and every step of genuine attention you give, it is a step toward greater strength, clarity, and the inner stability that makes everything else possible. Truth. 15. You are already strong enough to begin right now. Most people wait until they feel ready. They believe that first they must become confident, overcome every fear, and arrange all the circumstances before they are allowed to start. But the truth is this: The feeling of complete readiness does not come first. It is born in the act of beginning. You start even when you are afraid. You take a step even when you doubt. You move forward even when it feels like you do not know enough or have done enough. And precisely through those steps, confidence appears. The Stoics said that the path to wisdom runs through action, not through waiting for the perfect moment. Because life is happening right now, not when everything is comfortable, not when all the questions are answered. Now, you already know enough to take one small step toward what you want. You are already strong enough to look at your fear and move forward anyway. You are already worthy of living the life you know is right for you. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You do not need to wait until the doubts disappear. You do not need anyone's permission. You can start today with what you have from where you are. One action each day, one choice, one moment of genuine courage. And over time, you will look back and realize you have traveled far from where you started. The real strength is not in not feeling fear. The real strength is the ability to move anyway. And you already have that strength. You are already strong enough to begin right now, not tomorrow, not from Monday. Now. Take the first step, and let it be the beginning of a new chapter. Dear viewers, if this video gave you something real, subscribe to the channel, like, and hit the bell so you never miss what is coming. Share your thoughts in the comments. I am always glad to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.